If you're just getting into the Pokemon TCG, then this video is for you. Today we're going to be going over the top 3 decks that I believe are best for beginners. And what I mean by that is 3 decks that are currently competitive, but also easy to learn and have a straightforward strategy. Just to be clear, beginner does not mean bad. I'm not going to recommend you any bad decks. Okay, so starting with number 3, I'm going to be going with Joltik Box. Now, based on current online results, it has about a 51% win rate. It has good matchups against Flareon Noctowl, Charizard Pidgeot, and most notably Dragapult Charizard and Grimace Frostlass. It's got a 47% win rate against Gardevoir EX and a 45% win rate against Raging Bolt EX. Overall, I'd say it has somewhat of a decent matchup spread into 3 of the top 4 decks in my opinion. However, it loses heavily to a standard Dragapult. So this deck is centered around this little guy here with the attack Jolting Charge. Search your deck for up to 2 basic grass energy cards and up to 2 basic electric energy cards and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like. So basically you use Joltik to power up one of your attackers, and it's situational. So you can power up your Iron Hands EX to use the Amp You Very Much attack, which lets you take 1 extra prize card, or you can power up your Pikachu EX, which has the ability Resolute Heart. This Pokemon has full HP and would be knocked out by damage from an attack. It is not knocked out, and instead its HP becomes 10. So again, pretty situational on which one you would want to power up. And then you also have your Blood Moon Ursaluna EX for late game attacks, being able to attack for 1 energy less for each prize card your opponent has taken. You also have your Iron Leaves EX, which can knock out things like Charizard EX, who is weak to grass. And the last of your attackers is going to be Lily's Clefairy EX, which gives Dragon Pokemon a Psychic weakness, aka this is how you deal with Dragapult. And then you have your Latias EX for free retreat costs, as well as Fezandipity and Mew EX as your draw engines. So once again, you use Joltik as well as Crispin to put energies around the board and power up whoever you're going to use to attack. My number 2 deck is going to be Charizard Pidgeot. Now honestly, Charizard is going to be one of those decks that is always at least going to be competitive until it rotates. It'll never completely go away as long as the card is legal. So it's got a 54% win rate and has a very decent overall matchup spread, and it just has an even overall matchup into the top 4 decks. So Charizard, again, very straightforward. It's actually even more simple than Joltik Box. Obviously, it's centered around Charizard EX with the ability Infernal Rain. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, search your deck for up to 3 basic fire energy cards and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like. Basically, it powers itself up. And the attack Burning Darkness does 180 plus 30 more damage for each prize card your opponent has taken. So it's basically a huge comeback deck. You try to get your Charizards out as fast as possible, and as the matchup goes on, you just do more and more damage. Your main supporter Pokemon is going to be Pidgeot EX. With the ability Quick Search, once during your turn, you may search your deck for a card, put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. You can't use more than 1 Quick Search ability each turn, so you can grab whatever card you want every turn. You also have Chi-Yu as an attacker for single prizers, very situational. And you also have Monkey Dory, which can put damage from your Pokemon onto your opponent's Pokemon. You're going to see this card a lot, as most of the top decks have at least 1 copy of it. And besides that, you have Cleffa, which you really only use to have in the active spot with a free retreat. And if you're going second, you can use Grasping draw cards until you have 7 cards in your hand, giving yourself a pretty good hand after the first turn. The only other notable card I want to mention is Maximum Belt. It just allows you to do bigger damage early on before your opponent starts taking prize cards. And finally, my number 1 deck for beginners is going to be Raging Bolt EX. This deck is just a top 3 deck in general, and you can even make an argument that it's number 1. It is literally even or good into every deck that's relevant, and it mostly loses to this Iron Thorns Crustle deck that's been creeping up lately. But overall, it can beat pretty much anything in the current metagame, and it's going to stay that way at least according to the current Japanese results. And of course, Japan is always a set ahead of everybody else. They're kind of like a glimpse into the future. So some lists play the Noctowls and some don't. I believe it's better with them, but depends who you ask. So Noctowl has the ability Jewel Seeker. Once during your turn, when you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, if you have any Terra Pokemon in play, you may search your deck for up to 2 trainer cards, reveal them, and put them into your hand. So it takes 2 criteria, right? You gotta evolve this turn, and you need to have a Terra Pokemon on your bench. But it lets you grab any 2 trainer cards. So obviously the deck is centered around Raging Bolt EX, with the attack Bellowing Thunder, which says you may discard any amount of basic energy from your Pokemon. This attack does 70 damage for each card you discarded in this way. So basically you're just doing big numbers. Your goal is to have energies attached to your Pokemon, and it can be any of your Pokemon. Then you use this attack to discard them and hit for as big as you need to. It is accompanied by Teal Mask Ogre Pawn EX with the ability Teal Dance. Once during your turn, you may attach a basic grass energy card from your hand to this Pokemon. If you attach energy to a Pokemon in this way, draw a card. So more energies attached means bigger numbers for Raging Bolts, and at the same time, you're drawing a card for each time you use this ability. It's even possible to attack with this Pokemon if you want to hit things such as Charizard EX for weakness. And you have 2 other attackers, one of them being this baby Raging Bolt with the attack Thunderburst Storm. This attack does 30 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon for each energy attached to this Pokemon. So you can use this if you're trying to hit some Pokemon that's on your opponent's bench. And then you also have Slitherwing, which has 2 uses. Very situational. Number 1, stomp off, discard the top card of your opponent's deck. And number 2, Burning Turbulence, which burns your opponent's active Pokemon. Another important card in this deck is Area 0 Underdepth. Each player who has any Terra Pokemon in play can have up to 8 Pokemon on their bench. So that helps us meet the criteria for Noctowl and just helps us bench more overall. And the last notable card is going to be your main supporter, Professor Sada's Vitality. Choose up to 2 of your ancient Pokemon and attach a basic energy from your discard pile to each of them. If you attach any energy in this way, draw 3 cards. Obviously, with Raging Bolt being an ancient Pokemon, it goes well with that supporter card. And again, you're just attaching more energies, which means a bigger attack. Guys, that's going to be it for this video. Let me know if you want a more in-depth analysis for any of these decks. And if you got anything out of this video at all, please consider subscribing. I would greatly appreciate it. And with that being said, have a great rest of your day.